Hey everybody, it's Dana from StreamYard. I'm so excited to announce. Look, I'm sure that was the ad that came out right before I did this. Anyway, welcome to Infinite Realms. My name is Robert, and you're only getting that if you're a YouTuber, though. Wow, it's weird, huh? We're a funny little point. Uh, watched a couple of videos uh, in the past 24 hours. One was for Mad Hatter, one was for that Tiberium Hanger. Both talking about is Super 7 in financial trouble? Talking about these big sales at BBTS and etc., etc., etc. For those wondering, that was from the King and I. But anyway, uh, well, and I just thought, of course, Super Seven's in financial trouble because they're Super Seven. Let's just face facts, okay? And I have not hidden my fact that I don't like Super Seven, but I never really talked too much about it. I've mentioned a few things, but let me get into it. This is my dislike of Super 7, where it was born from, and why it still exists, and why it's probably never going away. First and foremost, reaction figures. Uh, I have bought the Firefly ones, and that was it. And those were a little pricey at $10 each at the time, and that's been a few years ago. And I thought they were overpriced. I mean, I didn't hate them, but I was like, God, these are overpriced. The detail. I mean, I get the aesthetic they're going for as the old school Star Wars Kenner stuff. But at the same time, I was kind of like, and we had, let's face it, Firefly merchandise is few and far between. There's nothing. Yeah, I bought those, but I did think those were overpriced at $10. Let me repeat that. Overpriced at $10. So today, reaction figures go for 20. You can imagine how I feel about that. Now, I'm going to say this too. I don't see people buying reaction figures. Now, maybe they do. I, I don't see it, but maybe they do. I don't know. I mean, the only time I see those things move is when they hit clearance. But yet they keep restocking. So I do wonder what the deal is on that. Because it seems like if you have something constantly going to clearance, eventually it disappears. But Target seems to carry these reaction figures all the time. And it's like, okay, why? Why are we doing this? I don't know. The point is, I get very, very confused on how Super 7 makes money if their stuff has been getting clearanced. Again, this is based off of what I see from reaction figures. Going further, um, I've looked at Ultimates, and wow, the best example I have is a fairly recent example. The San Diego Comic Con exclusive Bat. I was watching a review of it because I did debate those, but I was watching a review of the Bat, and one thing I noticed is the reviewer hit a very obvious flaw. The Bat's leg was at the knee was extremely loose, and you could see when the reviewer put the figure down, the leg just started wobbling in the breeze. Like, I mean, it was really insane the level of movement this thing had just being held in a hand. And did not comment on it, did not point it out, did not do anything. Totally hid the flaw. And I was like, that's it. That's it right there. I mean, people, for whatever reason, do not talk about the QC issues in this line. Joints loose to the point that they are flapping back and forth in the breeze. No wonder Hasbro thinks they can get away with this. I mean, compared to Super 7, that seems tame with what Hasbro does. And yeah, there's a ton of QC issues with Ultimates. At a $50 price point, I don't want to deal with QC issues that often. I don't think you should be dealing with QC issues that massive. That is my opinion. Okay. And some people have had varying degrees of luck getting replacements after QC issues happen. I just don't want to. I don't want the headache. The other thing is the 7-inch line, and you know, at best, I'm usually in the 1/12 scale collector. So I try to stay kind of either in that or 1/18th. Uh, I've been relaxed a little on 1/18th scale. I need to get some stuff back into that, which, you know, that's a whole other story. But if you watch my channel, you think I'm exclusively a 1/12 collector because it's like legends and wrestling are my major focuses at the moment. So yeah, I can see where you think I might be only exclusively focused on that. Nah, and I need to get my 1/18 scale stuff out and kind of, you know, showcase that a little better. But that's all beside the point. Anyway, with Super 7, it's just a long, long list. And I mean, you can add other stuff to it too. The Silverhawks fiasco, that's a good one. Uh, I mean, honestly, I do admit, and I mostly ignore Super 7, except for those big stories like the Silverhawks fiasco. Yeah, I mean, stuff like that. I saw the Cat's Lair. I mean, great for people who want it. Glad it got funded for you. I the the Frisbee of Doom, otherwise known as the Cobra Mothership. I The quality on that is terrible. I'm just gonna be blunt about it. It's terrible. It's not worth $500. If you're gonna pay $500 for that, good for you. I'm not. But getting to more to the point, a couple other ideas that were brought up is Super 7 stretching themselves thin with so many licenses. I can see that actually. I've been wondering. I know there's been collections that were never completed, and it doesn't look like they're ever going to be. There's just a ton of stuff going on with that company that I don't like. I mean, I don't think Flynn is very transparent in what he says and how he acts. That bothers me a great deal. Hate on Bobby Valla all you want to. But one thing you got to give the guy, he's fairly transparent on, what goes on with his company. He also addresses issues of quality control and does things to make it right. Whereas, things I've heard from Super, if they've changed that recently, then okay. But, as far as I'm aware, you really got to go through like Big Bad Toy Store to get any kind of assistance with this the messes you get with quality control, which I guess makes sense. I mean, but still, if you buy directly from Super 7, what does that mean? Some people have told me some bad stories about that, and makes me even more wary. Your reputation precedes you. And yeah, I know Valaverse has that. Some people try to give Valaverse the same reputation. I'm like, nah. I've been watching Valaverse, and for the most part, I've seen Valaverse address problems right away and not like beat around the bush about it and act like nothing's going on, etc., etc. And if anything, they get ahead of it. Um, I remember when Wave 3 came out, and there were some samples that were coming back, and they had an air bubble in the ankle, and I was like, I hadn't got mine yet, and I was like, okay, but I know if I do run into that issue, I'm okay. So I wasn't as worried about it. But yeah, is financial is Super 7 in financial trouble? I don't see how they can't be. I know people like to stick up for Super 7. I kind of wonder about it myself. I know some people, some YouTubers, we'll just say it that way, some YouTubers are really in with Super 7, which I think, you got to watch that really carefully because if you get in with a company, how does that affect your, let's say, objectivity? Because like I said, if you can't edit every single flaw out. If you do a review and I can spot that the damn leg on your figure is loose as hell, you can't edit out every mishap with that leg. You can try, and it probably won't do you any good because we're going to see it. You got to pay attention. That's one of the reasons why I watch YouTube videos, reviews of stuff I'm on the fence about, because I'm not paying attention to what the people are saying. I'm paying attention to what the figure's doing. And I do see it where people try to sell me on something. But I'm looking at it going, nah, I can already see through your BS. That's not a bragging point for me. I mean, I'm just stating a fact. Because I get it, I'm a fan too. And, every time somebody tries to review something, it seems like they're trying to sell you something or not sell you something. And, you know, make up your own mind. Well, yeah, that's a good point. Make up your own mind. But that doesn't mean you can't take other people's opinions into account. Some people can give you insights you may not have caught before. And the point is that with Super 7, I don't see people who I think would be straight up reviewing Super 7 that often. And it seems like everybody who reviews Super 7 is just heaping praise on it. Except I see through what you're talking about. I see the leg dangling. And I know that's an issue. And I know that's a problem. And you're not saying anything about it. I think Super 7 has done a good job of catching the big channels and making sure that they are pro him, Super 7, pro Flynn. Again, dangerous. Shouldn't do it. But you know what else happens with that is that I know your integrity is not there. Because if I can see a flaw that you're not going to point to, that tells me something. And I think that's where Super 7 is really slipping down a slippery slope, because you can have all the praise in the universe, but if it's not true, it's eventually going to catch up to you. And I think what we're seeing is it's catching up to Super 7 finally. I could be wrong. I'm not going to lie. I could be wrong. I could be way off. I could be way off base. But I don't think I am. And I think it's a little bit tougher on Super 7 than everybody's wanting to admit. And I've noticed a uptick in people being super positive about Super 7. And I'm kind of going, wait a minute. And, again, for me, there's a whole lot going on with Super 7. It's like, I don't like the aesthetics of their ultimates, the lack of articulation, everything. I mean, it's just such a laundry list of things. At the same time, when people say Super 7's in financial trouble, I'm like, it's 100% totally believable because of what you see happening constantly and the reputation behind them. And if they are in financial trouble, I'm not shocked in the slightest. So, that'll wrap up Infinite Realms. Don't forget to like and subscribe.